brother Jonathan got bars, man. He got bars. But he always making slow music, man. Want to pray to his music and meditate. He can't get hype, man. Sometimes I want to get hype for the Lord. Come on, man.
Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Keeping them close. Man, we got fringes and seats on the clothes. Me and my brothers ain't sleeping. We reading the secrets. The deepest you've been is the ocean. Now we been swimming in waters that's deeper than rivers. The Jordan. We creeping up on them. It's the 14th of the month. Bone Thugs one day late for the show. Oh. Ain't never been out, ever since Red Pen Pals. You too late, you let them in now. We like veterans, niggas that's power. These secrets only come through steady, no regrets. We walk through water like Jesus. We raising the dead, you see this. Look at this evening pose. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post.
We holding posts, chopping the doctrines, they ain't coming close. They had the three strikes like on Wonder Franco. We're Rochelle toast. Wisdom is better than silver and gold. This water is knocking down wicked Pharaoh. Can't swim through the sea, man, that fan was too slow. Pharaoh was double-minded, think he came and go. Escape on a starry night, Victor Van Gogh. Living good unchained like Quincy Django. Strippers down in the hood, now they wanna tango. Death angels coming close, so watch your back, bro. Watch your back, bro. We grilling that lamb, we gon' eat that. That better herb, we gon' eat that. Doing this till you how I come and see that. We that. Oh.
Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. The Pesach in Nissan. We found faith in Misraim. We got to be strong. Walking through water, pray we don't sing. Strapped up, boots tight. Walking upright, boy, we don't lean. 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 Walking upright, we see that. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the blood on the post. Blood on the post. Blood on the post.
Yo, that brother Jonathan got bars.
Because of what some say, oh, it just might be a lie. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know
change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the steps, that change gon' come. You know change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the streets, that change gon' come. You know change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling in the streets, that change gon' come. You know change gon' come,
Mic check
gon' come. Rattling in the streets, that change gon' come.
Yeah, change coming fast, days running past. We maze runners ablaze and stay numbers last. The pain that we display, you can't understand. That's why we move with the faith of David Abraham. We tryna pace where the apes be. Keys like HP, curses live at HD. Women chasing clout and brothers changing their faces. Screaming, oh God, send your son to save us.
So tired of all the pain. See all my people ailing. Cause living day to day is hard to face. I know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the steps, that change gon' come. You know change gon' come, change gon' come. Rattling the steps. check it. Can barely wait for that day to come. Getting ready for that war, time to beat the drum. And to the ones trying to hold me back with bent up faces, just call me Master Eddie, trading places.
Change gon' come, and it's coming fast. I know change gon' come, cause this world won't last. I know it's so much hurt, and it's so much pain. But when them cherries come, just know the world gon' change. Why my people cry, cause they tired of lies. That's why we face the east, pray to Yahweh Shai. Cause change gon' come. Prophecy says that change gon' come. Yeah.
So tired of all the pain. Seen all my people in is living day to day. It's hard to face. I know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change.
Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come.
Look, we've been trying to get up out of this, but we've been too busy worshiping some nonsense. Jesus, we want change that happen real quick, but we are stiff-necked people and we don't give a All women all up on Instagram, shaking and twerking their ass like they don't give a damn. And if we really want change, we gotta open our book and be baptized again. We gotta change.
So tired of all the pain. Seen all my people in is living day to day. It's hard to face. I know that on that day you can release them chains. So give him all the praise and change.
Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. Change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Rather than the scripts that change gon' come.
Change gon' come, change gon' come. Ready in scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Ready in scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Ready in scripts that change gon' come. You know, change gon' come, change gon' come. Ready in scripts that change gon' come.
Say they are them that keep the commandments, cause them have the right to the tree of life and can go through the gate into the city. Cause without them a dog.
Thy kingdom come is told me, so obey the Mosaic, nigga, that's great. Like the captivity when holy Moses stole the locust, scoliosis, get back crazy. Christ the living water, free to wave, will behave. I need a slave, Mr. Passways. He just laughed and said, nigga, it ain't over till then seen a higher choir full of fat ladies. Hamashiach birth was perfect, he don't act shady. Spirit dope from the womb like a crack baby. We Christ followers, let America meet the black Navy. And watch this privileged Christian cracker like black slave. Israelites, bitch, we humongous. Wise Q and Q the cucumber. I prep twice, my mind 2 bunkers. Voice of choice to the newcomers. My Micah Myers, I need blue jumpers. 300 kosher soldiers, Leonidas. Awards ready, Gideon Titus. No being nice, a knife to Dionysus. My law heathens, I quit being biased. The key to tree of life is being pious.
You loudmouth bitches barking at the dog whisperer. You will catch these paws in the name of the living word. I don't pump fake, I'm a pivot around this perimeter. They bite the jab step, whole time I'm checking your temperature. I can minister this literature in a verse into integers. All the babes in the truth weaned off the milk, get a quench of thirst. We are holy people, that's set apart like a room full of introverts. I guarantee you have never heard that up in your church. You see this woolly hair, plus my feet the color of brass. I'm just here to prophesy, my foot going up your ass. I'm smirk while others chuckle, I'm glad I can make you laugh. Come on and sign a death row, all I need is your autograph. I got a stick in my hand like I'm ready to play fetch. You brag about your hands, but there's nothing you can't catch. I'm a landlord, no dog trying this complex. Been stepping on shit, can't keep my feet off next.
Yeah man, tell them boys say, yo, you know hear me chain? Yo, Oh, my glasses, let me talk to them boy. Yo. You see in the kingdom. You know see my mansion right there, sir. You know see my car. Yeah, man. You know see it, Yo, Christian Corey. Now look for them now. Them outside of the gate and them can't come in. We eat everlasting fruits. No more pain, no more hunger. Just riches and wealth and good life and living. But because you don't keep the commandments of the Most High, you're outside of the gate now and you can't come in here.
Deacon. Only 12 tribes in the kingdom, the dogs are outside, weeping and gnashing the teeth. You hear the outcries, to get there you gotta be humble and denounce pride. They in awe when them chariots come. You see them mouth wide, shout out to the northern kingdom. But I'm from Southside, we outside doing the work. You on the couch fried, the greasiest. The flow was easiest, swatting house flies. The big shark that outgrew his tank, you niggas trout size. Edomites faking the truth, but they about lies. Niggas don't pop it, they gossiping like some housewives. They call it Sakari for a reason. We throwing out knives, y'all lukewarm newborns. I like devout guys, you think you confident in the spirit until the doubt rise. Family of the word, you won't hear it until the drought dies. I was in the streets like a Muslim, handing out pies. The big cat comes in the room and watch the mouse hide.
Hey, Deacon, use your inside voice. You ain't outside. Out lies the white man by the gate and he listening. Stop your voice of many waters, go switch to your pictures thin. You embarrassing our fathers, be proper when you sit with men. And cross your legs, straighten up your posture and lift your chin. Be master's pad and motto when the Oscar shit bitch pretend. Man, why the hell I'm pushing Stockholm? Now that Abraham Stockholm, Jerome. I'm by Yahweh, fuck a goof too. Yahweh shy, pluck a tooth loose. He that lead of luck a new sloop. Syro-Phoenician, fuck us deuce. Carbon fifth, chuck a few loose. Duck, yep, a goose loose. Brain splatter, color couscous. Then danced on it, bust a deuce. Recruiting fruit, yep, a poop. Body of Christ, looking Bruce. Big dog, no call. Cop pull it until they click and load them. She no swift as eagles aboard the seat out her nigga scrotum. Put the stick in the V flying until they Jimmy Croton. Robbing Jews and Jews of Judah. Can't send a chicken on them, but with Christ, bird's eye view. Precision vision, show them fire bombing shit out the sky. Dot them, we semicolon. I hawk them down, walk them down, convict the sentence on them. They take them through it, make them do it, pigeonhole them. We did them foul, but fair. We read the holy prophets in context and we parroted verbatim. Esau's church that's out here winging it. Culture vultures. Christian.
So here one now. On to them boy, man. They not even know if them serve God the right way. They live a righteous and positive life. There are bare things the most I have for them. Yo, a long
out in my ride. So much on my mind, just trying to catch a vibe. Thinking about my people, it seems they all blind. They thinking they know the truth, but no, not up to 12. Try. Some say we a nation that's built up on tribulation. Some say we was taken and put in this situation. I say honestly, man, it's a little bit of both. Just take it from a nigga who parents native and Haitian. White folks stole my people's land, but we gon' take it back, cause the most I put the power in our hands. Yeah, we going straight reprimand, cause the people did us dirty and never got punished. From here to friend, they out here preaching peace, but to us ain't none given. Convince us to protest, but disregard how we living. Well, soon y'all gon' know how we feeling. Yeah, how we shy's coming back to prove to you that you ain't been forgiven. I'ma break it to you now that with this joint ain't no hook. The aristocrats on the mic pushing them words like a book. I'm anointed and I'm a saint and I got these niggas shook. I'm a Danite prince of the power and I can't be forsook. I think it's unfortunate that y'all couldn't face the facts. You so confused, you can't seem to break down Romans and Acts. When I teach, y'all got me losing all of my patience. Hear the word Israelite and then you turn to Galatians. Honestly, y'all need to do some investigating. My people acknowledge but still fighting for education. Broke them shackles off of my mind and set me free. Now, Father, y'all got me thinking immortal relation. Try and wake y'all up, but you suckers being complacent. Shot that nigga in the street, but how you grew up's adjacent. Take a nigga life for a little bit of wealth just to spend that shit and move back into your mama basement. Now you become a Muslim so that your life don't get taken. Boy, assalamu alaikum, bean pies, green eggs, and bacon. Allah just the title, not the name of the Most High. You a Israelite soon to be seeing revelation. Hey, now they saying the prince is lyrical. I'm ruling this thing, but it ain't nothing empirical. Yahweh shots at the comforter, got me feeling spiritual. Yasha Allah on the rise, I ain't even hit the pinnacle. Hey, y'all know ain't too many better than I start watching the on this mic, I even got a letterman. Skills concrete solid, I ain't talking settlement. Repping the Anointed House, man, you know we killing it. Hey, this time around, y'all better get a ticket. This young hit a bomb like the 96 Olympics. Mess with the men of the Lord, might end up in the clinic. We taking the kingdom soon, 1 hour, 0 minutes.
All right. Shalom, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Y'all put a 7 in the chat if y'all can hear me. If you will. Put a 7 in the chat if you can hear me. It is Day of Atonement, so for us, we're starting the night. So we will have a large part of the lesson, obviously, that's going to be going over that, but I got something I want to go over first, so y'all let me know if we sound good, I bet. I don't know about that, brother, but you know, I think about it. But yeah, man, shalom to everybody. Hope y'all enjoying y'all day. Hope y'all getting ready for the Day of Atonement. Hope y'all got y'all spirits right, in the right order and everything like that. I'm going to tell you guys what you need and what you don't need in a little bit. But first, as always, I want to start by giving all honor and praise to the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, or in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai. I'm your brother, the aristocrat, or Ya'al, or L-E-L, right? Akia Izar Bandan, right? So, yeah, I think not going to be up here later on. He told me he will be whenever he get to the crib. He had to work later, something like that. So, but yeah, man, we here, all right? So, I'm actually going to do some shout-outs today. You know what I mean? So, if you in the chat, say something, put your stamp on it. All right. We're gonna start with the good sis, Yana. Shalom. Shalom, sis. We got, well, damn, there he is. Knock. Sister Issachar. Benyamin in the building. Shalom. Hold up. Why I can't move this thing? Okay, here we go. Pariana, Shalom, sis. The brother good DTA Twan, brother Nadab in the building. The good brother Nazar, Shalom King. Got Boaz the Zealous. Shalom, brother. Princess, what's up, mama? What's up? What's good? Shaquat, what's happening? Captain Shaquat. Zari. Sorry, Zari. No, I'm playing. Azaria. Shalom, bruh. Shalom, shalom. Charlissa, shalom, sis. The giant himself. Kowal, shalom. Big Judah in the building. Shalom, shalom. Asanaya. Asanaya. Huh? Sabah. All right. We got a True Royalty in the building. Shalom, 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 shalom. Ark of Rectitude. Rectitude. Yeah, shalom. Good sis Devorah. Shalom to you and the good brother. Zabawalan. That's us, of course. We got Yaquab in the building. Shalom King. What's up, Pops? I think that's everybody. All right. I don't see nobody new in this thing, so we good to go. All right, bet. Let's get it. All right, y'all. So, first things first. If you watch my Instagram, or not Instagram, Facebook, Salakia, timeout, flag on the play. But if you pay attention to my Instagram, I said that junk again. What the hell? If you pay attention to Facebook, I made a post sometime I think over the weekend, right? Ron Dalton and the good brother Yawasop from Ram Gadal Gabarium actually had a debate, right? Ron doesn't take many debates from Israelites that know something because then it would show how much he doesn't know. But he's done it 2 or 3 times, right? Um, I called him out like 4 or 5 years in a row when I was with SOT, and now the channel's smaller, so I know he's not gonna do nothing. But he wouldn't step up against me back then. So, but he's going against brothers that have a similar frame of mind as me now, right? At least with Yawasop, so to speak. So, Yawasop's an astute brother, been in the truth for a while. You know what I'm saying? Know a lot of history. But there were some things that he said in this debate regarding the Dork people and, the Dorians and stuff like that, that I wanted to clarify, right? Because there was a part at the very beginning of the debate where it was stated from a book that the Doric people were the ones that instituted homosexuality in the Greek states, which it would be a people that spoke the Doric dialect, but it wasn't the Dorians, so to speak, right? It was Edomites. So, if you watched the class I did last week, which probably should have pulled that up. Let me see if I could find this joint right quick so I could show it to you, right? But if you watched the class that we did last week, I think it was last week, right? But we actually taught about how the Celtics. Well, we taught actually it's 2 classes on this topic. So there was one where I showed you guys that there were multiple Celtic nations, right? Reason we did this was to show the difference in how Esau actually attaches himself to different things, right? Different nations. Last week, what we did is we showed you guys how, or the last time we talked about this, rather, it might have been 2 weeks ago at this point. But last time we talked about this, we showed you how Esau actually attached himself to, not only the Celtics, but the Gauls, the Etruscans, the Macedonians, the Spartans, right? No different than he did with the English and the British and Russia and the Jewish and, Egyptian, whatever it is, right? Anywhere that they moved into, they basically took over and tried to write themselves into the history as if they were always there, right? So nowadays, when you look into the history, a lot of it is conflicting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the sources are conflicting. And this is why it took me 5 years to bring out these topics. I didn't bring none of this out at SOT because I was still doing the research. And one of the books that I read, why the hell is my pop's comment still up here? What the fuck is going on? So, but one of the books that I researched when I was doing this was the very book that he brought out. And I realized that there were some things, that were different about that. So that's what I want to talk about. But I want to see if I could pull this up. You coming up, bro? Or no? Oh. Shalom. I can't. Well, I see you here, but I don't see you there. Oh, now I see you. Oh, he frozen. Oh, wait. No, you good now. You back. All right, we good. We good. You on mute.
Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Yeah. You good. Sound good.
Where
you get that background from?
Oh, the brothers, I've put different backgrounds and it's in the settings.
Damn. Okay. That's fine. Was that the Last Supper or something?
No, let me.
Oh, what the hell? What's that?
I think that's the lowering of the brother that was being lowered from the rooftop.
Okay, word. Okay.
Yeah.
I was about to say, what's that? They killing Stephen? You got that joke on your background? But not. But okay. So yeah, man. But yeah, it was stated that the Doric people were homosexuals, and I wanted to prove because a couple weeks ago we actually showed you how Esau attaches himself to the history, right? He did the same thing with Macedonia. There are actually some things I want to pull up if I can. Nope, that ain't what I want. Knock. Could you say something right quick for me?
Yeah.
Whatever you want to say. I need to cheat.
Shalom, everybody. Good to see everybody here. Glad to be here. Hey, it's Day of Atonement. Bringing in the atonement. I don't know what Captain has brought up yet, but I'm going to follow his suit for right now. But hey, for those who are coming into class, please like, subscribe, and share the class. Like, subscribe, and share the class because we want everybody to hear these things. We want to hear these lessons, be able to go over these lessons, and and that's what we're supposed to do. We're here to study the scriptures and learn these laws and commandments, these high holy days that we have that come up all throughout the year. So everybody just please do your part. Do your part in this congregation, or those who may be visiting for the first time. Share the class. All praises. Share the class.
I don't know what's going on, bro, but I can't pull this email up.
Let me go over who's all here today or this evening.
I actually just did that.
Okay, Con.
I did it. Yep. I might just have to read this to y'all and try to show it to you later because I can't pull this picture up. But
let me bring this up real quick since Captain Shahar put it in. Just want to remind, since we will be having lessons throughout the day. First class will be tomorrow at 9 a.m. on YouTube. So if those who are able to attend and be a part of the class, listening in, go ahead and listen in. Tell your family, tell your friends. We will be ending the Day of Atonement with a class at about 10 p.m. And so please tune in for that also tomorrow night. All right.
Yeah. I might just have to read this to y'all because I can't put this particular one up.
Which email are you trying to? What are you trying to do?
It's a source I had, but I was trying to show the picture of it. I emailed it to myself, but my email just did some weird stuff, so now I can't see none of my emails.
Can you send it to your Telegram?
Yeah, I could. You gonna show it if I pull it up on Telegram?
I can.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do that. Hold on.
Let me pull my Telegram up real quick.
These three. Or I can send it to you on Telegram. I'm putting it in the officer chat.
Con.
All right.
I just gotta wait for this thing to pull up now.
Now, so what this is that we're looking for, Salakia for the delay, but why don't you just show this video while we wait, right?
Whoa. So you put in the officer's chat?
Yeah, it's an officer's chat.
I don't see it.
It did not load. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me do this again one more time. Lord in Christ. Technology, guys. You gotta love it. You gotta love technology. When it don't work. All right. So I'm about to put his video up while he's about to pull those up for you. And I want to show you guys what I'm talking about. Right. There's a couple of things we got to talk about. And then we're going to get right into atonement. Okay. So let's get into it. And if y'all didn't see this debate, you should watch it. Because if I'm not mistaken, it was about who is Esau, right? Ron was trying to show Esau is not the white man from Europe. And if I'm giving you my honest opinion on Ron, I've said this before. I will say it again publicly. I think Ron has white forefathers, which is why he doesn't want to believe that the white man is Esau from Europe. I think he got some white man from Europe in his blood, and he know that, regardless of the E1B1A crap, right? That's what I feel, simply because he can't seem to understand that the white man ain't Japhet. It's impossible. But nevertheless, I digress. So y'all can see that.
Can you widen it out?
Nah, I can't do that because it's a YouTube video. So I mean, I could do this.
That's what I meant.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were zooming, but yeah. All right, so just listen to this a little bit, right? Some of the information you will have heard because I've said it. And then some of it will sound unfamiliar, and I'm going to correct the unfamiliar stuff.
Man, the son of Hamadatha, the Agagite. Now, in 1 Samuel 15 and 18, he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites.
I have no idea what platform the debate was on.
What is he asking?
It was somebody asked what platform was the debate on. I don't know what platform the debate was on. I just
Is this
watched
the
it.
debate between Yawasop of good
Yeah,
Ram
I was
Gadol?
talking to Ron Dalton. Yep.
What was that platform?
I know you can find the debate on Ram Gadol's channel. That's where I watched it.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting anything Ron does. I never did and I never will. So
It's that new thing that I guess God Logic is and it was in a collaboration with God Logic and IUSPK
well,
to
then I
present
definitely So watch it. I don't even want to finish. Like no offense, but don't even finish that. So watch it off of Ram Gadol's channel. Screw them other niggas with you know these.
Yeah. Amalek is a son of Esau. So what do you see? Haman, the Agagite, is an Edomite. Let's continue. In the editions of Esther 16 and 10, for Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha. So now you see the Agagite, the Amalekite, the Edomite is in Macedonia. Macedonia is in modern day northern Greece. Now look at First Maccabees 1 and 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead first over Greece.
There you go. So look, there's something I want to rewind, right? So you see the word Macedonian, right? It's in Esther. So we go back, right? Haman is an Agagite, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Esther, okay? Samuel, Agag, is of the Amalekites, right? When you get to the editions of Esther, which is the rest of Esther, Ammon is known as a Macedonian. Now, when we look up the time frame that Esther was alive, right? This is important. Time frames and dates and stuff like that are important to know why people are calling people certain things at certain time periods, right? So when did Esther of the Bible live? Esther lived in the 5th century BCE during the reign of the Persian king Artaxerxes or Azarias, right? So that's that, right? 5th century BC, okay? The reason that number is important is because of Knock. Did you get those things that I sent you? All right, can you pull up all three of them?
God.
So the dates, right? What we're about to show you is what I went over in the last 2 weeks when we talked about the Celtic class and the Gaul class, right? In the Macedonian class, how we showed how the Edomites literally moved into these different places, and it started with the class we did on the Slavs. You feel me? I can't see none of that.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can make it bigger.
It looked like the resolution got bad once I sent it to you or something. Oh, it looked like it loaded. It's not. It's not. It's not getting no. Now it's gone.
Hold on, that was my fault. Let me try it again. Oh, it did go away. Okay. That's weird. Okay, hold on. Let me pull it back up.
But yeah, so
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it this way.
Yeah, and if it don't work, I'm just gonna read it because I don't got time. I'm not trying to. I can't drink no water and nothing like that. So I'm not. I don't get irritated with shit. So, but yeah, the dates. This says 6th century BCE, right? 5th century BCE is when she was alive. What you have to remember is that I showed you guys there was 2 Doric invasions. One was, the Danites coming around 1100 BC, right? If we look at the PowerPoint that I did, if we look at the PowerPoint real quick, scroll all the way up. That's what we were doing. Last week we talked about the Kiev and Rus, right? And Vladimir. So, but when we look at the Dorian invasion, right? I told you that there were 2 sources. One said 1300, one said 1100. I told you that I lean more toward the 1100 BC, which is why I put 1100 down here, right? So 1100 BC is when most scholars say that the original Dorians came to the land of Greece. These are not the ones that brought or instituted homosexuality, if you will, right? What Yawasop's source is going to say is Doric, not Dorian. Doric is the name of the language that the Dorians spoke. Doric was a language spoken not only in the place that the, Danites were, but also where the Edomites were at, because Macedon is the first place they came to, right? They came from Thrace down to Macedon. And I showed you that. His sources are also going to explain that they were in Macedon, right? Without explaining the time period that they got there. His source is going to start with saying 1100 BC for when the Dorians got there, but then he's going to mention the institution of homosexuality being directly linked to the building of gymnasiums. The building of gymnasiums happened 100 years before Esther in Greece. They started building gymnasiums in Greece around 600 BC, right? 600 BC. So this is important because the second Doric invasion was around 750, 700, 750 BC. So this is right in line with when the Edomites start coming to the land. You know what I'm saying? And there's going to be some sources where I'm going to show you some things too. So are you able to pull those things up now? Or no? Or do I just need to read them? You on mute. I can't hear you.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it now. It's like you can't zoom in on it, I guess.
Well, what you can do, Cap, is widen your screen, because once you hit at the bottom of the screen, hit that to widen it out, and you'll be able to read it.
I mean, I can read it off my phone, but I want to make sure y'all can see it.
I mean, if they,
if they can't, it is what it is. Yeah, I ain't worried about it. So look, this is what I want to show you guys. Which one is this? Let me make sure this is the right one.
Is this the first one?
No. Move over to. I think this is the one I want. Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with this one first. All right. So first things first. Actually, just keep this on the screen for right now.
All right.
Let me put this down. I'm gonna play this video so that they know what I'm talking about here. So take this off the screen. All right. Now y'all listen up, and then I'll explain. But like I said, you see Macedon, Esther is calling them Macedonians now, and she's around a time period where they would have been the Macedonians, because this is after the second Doric invasion. Esther's alive around 5th century BC. The second Doric invasion, or the second invasion of people that spoke the Doric language, meaning they came from a Doric state, which Macedon was a Doric state. So when they moved from Thrace to the Doric state, they learned to speak the Doric language. So in history, when they wrote themselves in as the Macedonians and attached themselves to the Argaid and the Archaeid dynasties, right? They literally made themselves like them people, just like how they did with David. And they tell you they could trace themselves back to the time of David and all that type of crap, right? They're there, just not as the people they're saying. They could trace themselves back to the time of Jesus. They're there, but they're not the people they're talking about, right? They're Romans. So it's like, that's the thing that they're not explaining to you. So,
right.
But pay attention.
Let's continue. In the editions of Esther 16 and 10, for Haman, a Macedonian, the son of Amadatha. So now you see the Agagite, the Amalekite, the Edomite is in Macedonia. Macedonia is in modern day northern Greece. Now look at 1 Maccabees 1:1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius the king of the Persians and Medes, and he reigned in his stead first over Greece. So now you see, even Alexander the Great comes from Macedonia, which we're going to continuously see that Edomites dwelled in this land and then conquered Greece after the Peloponnesian Wars. But let me show you, right? This is 1 Maccabees 1:9, and it says, after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied upon the earth. Remember, in 1 Maccabees 1:3, it says Esau is the border of wickedness. They're the most evil people upon the face of the earth. Now, this is 1 Maccabees 1:14, whereupon they placed They built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. Now, all of this is going to be important when I pull up the next historical source. This is Hebrews 12 and 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. So Esau is the pinnacle of fornication, the pinnacle of evil, the pinnacle of being profane. Now look at this source. Love in ancient Greece. It says, nevertheless, it seems quite likely that pederasty was not introduced into Greece, or at any rate did it prevail there to any great extent before the Dorian invasions. I'm going to show you who these Dorians are. For in historical times, we shall soon see it flourished mainly and attracted most attention among the populations of Dorian descent.
Now, this is what I want to explain, right? This part here is what I want you guys to really understand, and this is what I'm going to correct, right? So, starts with what he said on the last page. My bad, I was pulling something up that I forgot to pull up. I was doing stuff before I got here, so before I came onto the class. But I gotta rewind. So where he talked about here, right, the place of exercise. The first Maccabees 1 and 14, second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 12, right? We see those things happening. It's a heathen custom, right? Edomite custom, if you will, for them to have gymnasiums, where the gymnasiums are places where men work out together, right? Particularly with the little boy as their spotter. He would be their pederast or their apprentice. He's the boy that they're cracking open when they want to, right? And all that type of stuff. And everybody's in this thing butt naked, working out, right? So that's how they used to do it. And this was an issue because they built one of these gymnasiums, in Jerusalem under the temple. So, yeah, that's what happened. But, so pay attention to this.
Pinnacle.
Now we got,
nevertheless,
this book,
it seems
right. This part right here at the bottom. This book here, Love in Ancient Greece, right? So this Robert, however you say his last name, is supposed to be explaining to you how certain things in Greece translated into the way, love is seen now, the way love was seen in Latin, like in the Latin world, the way love was seen in the Renaissance and stuff like that, right? This is primarily the same area, right? Who you would think and who they teach you is the same people. So, he wrote this book with that mind frame, with that mind state, right? We know from our classes, right, things that we've showed you, that that's not the case. And I mean, I've done a bunch of different classes on this, which at the end of this class, at the end of this part of the class, rather, I will go over the classes I did just to show y'all, so that if y'all want to go watch them, y'all can. But there's a particular part about this that proves that it's not, quote unquote, the Dorian invasions, right? So it starts by saying, nevertheless, it seems quite likely that pederasty, so quite likely, it's not even speaking from a factual standpoint. And I'm going to prove off this very page here that he kind of contradicted himself and talked about things that happened in two different time periods. One was a time period given during the first Doric invasion, but another, the thing that he said constituted for the beginning of this homosexual behavior and stuff like that, which was the building of gymnasiums, didn't begin until after the second invasion, which the second invasion was of the Edomites, right, into Macedonia, which is when they took over and eventually then took over the rest of the Greek world, right? So let me read this myself, and y'all will understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, pederasty was not introduced into the Greek world. It is quite likely that pederasty was not introduced into Greece, or at any rate did not prevail there to any great extent. So meaning it wasn't, if it was there, it didn't get popular, is what he's trying to say there. Meaning he's telling you without telling you, he doesn't even know when or where it started, who actually started it with the first sentence here. It's quite likely that pederasty was introduced into Greece, right? Or at any rate did not prevail there to any great extent. There's a lot of historians that talk like this in their books. They'll put timestamps as if the stuff is fact, but the stuff they're saying before the timestamps prove they don't actually know this for a fact, right? But a lot of guys take things to use it as sources because it fits their point. And, they don't really dive into the full history. I dived into this real deep. Pause. So That's why I understand what the difference is here, and I'm going to try to explain that to y'all and convey it, right? So there's 2 Doric invasions, which the things that Knock is going to show you is going to prove that, right? And it's going to prove that scholars, new day scholars, right, with advanced technologies that we have now in 2025, which this book was made before, I think, 1970, if I'm not mistaken. So he's using outdated stuff, and I'll explain with another website why that's the case, because it's going to tell you that, most basically, if you're using a book from 1970 or before on the Doric invasions, it's only going to talk about there being one Doric invasion. It's not going to talk about there being multiple ones, which means they don't have the full scope of the history that we have now. So there's a lot of things they wouldn't be able to tell you. And like I said, in this book, he's starting off this page where he's going to sound like he knows facts with things that are clearly not facts. So it says, it did not prevail to any great extent before the Dorian invasions. For in historical time, so now he's going to try to make it seem like a fact, as we shall soon see, it flourished mainly and attracted most attention among the populations of Dorian descent. Now, there's multiple populations among Dorian descent. This technically means anybody that spoke the Doric dialect. So the original people of Japhet, any of them that came into contact with the Dorians, which the Dorians took over, they became the leaders and the rulers of the so-called Greek state, the Peloponnesians, right? So they end up ruling it at a time. And once the Peloponnesians tried to take over, they had a Peloponnesian War in which the Peloponnesians lost. So the Dorians won. They stayed, had the power until the Persians took over, right? Well, yeah. Was it the Persian? I'm trying to think. Whatever. I'm going blank right now. But Persians and Edomites, right? When them folks pulled up and took over, that's what happened. That's when everything stopped. So, because my head hurting, I ain't ate. But regardless, so the Dorian descent. Homer describes the Achaean and Mycenaean civilizations of the 13th and 12th century BC, the age of the bronze. To all appearance, it was the Dorian invaders. So, to all appearance, meaning it's evident. So it's not a fact again, based off what he's saying, right? Which it would be a fact if he knew more about what he was talking about, but he don't. I'm going to explain to you, it's going to be people that spoke a Doric language, but they were never actually Dorians, right? Not people of Dorian descent that brought the homosexuality. He's actually going to prove that with a statement he's going to make, right? Towards the bottom of the book when he talks about gymnasiums, because the gymnasiums didn't come into play with the original Dorians. They came in with the people that took over Macedonia speaking a Doric language, right? So Homer describes the Achaean and Mycenaean, right? Mycenaean is Japhet, Achaean is Dan, right? Civilizations of the 13th and 12th centuries of the Bronze Age. To all appearance, it was the Dorian invaders of the 11th century, meaning 1100 BC, which is what I just told you, right? That's when Dan got there, who introduced into Greece both the use of iron and homosexual practices. Now I'm about to show you how this is false. And Homer didn't actually explain it like that, right? He explained it was a Doric people, right? And explained that the Doric people came into contact with the Greek world around 1100. He's one of the sources I used to get that number. He never said they were the ones that brought, that the people that came in 1100 were the ones that brought homosexuality. He explained that the ones that brought the gymnasiums were the ones that brought homosexuality. And just a sidebar, if we were to look up when gymnasiums came into play, 6th century BC, right? In Athens, Greece. Okay? So not even in the Spartan state, in an Athenian state is where the gymnasiums were first put into place, right? So Athens would have been the first place that homosexuality came into play. If it's synonymous with the gymnasiums, it would have had nothing to even do with Macedonia or Sparta. But the book doesn't tell you that, because this book isn't based off facts. It's based off of this guy's hypothesis, right? As he's basically explaining to you in the book. So reading on. it says, in the Plutarch or the Plutarch Eretikos, on the other hand, 75F, the champion of heterosexual love exclaims, homosexuality resembles the son of born late. It resembles a son born late of parents past their maturity, or a bastard child,
quite likely,
of darkness, Salakia, seeking to supplant his elder brother's legitimate love. Right. So that's just to explain to you how these people thought. Eretikos, there's no proof of what actual ethnicity he is, though. I don't know if he's an Edomite. I don't know if he's a Japhetite. I don't know what he is. You know what I'm saying? So this just a quote that somebody left. I know that all the other guys that left quotes like that, like Pluto, when he talked about the relationship between boy and man being love, and the relationship between man and woman being solely for the purposes of procreation. I have that quote. I could pull it up for you if I need to. But Pluto's an Edomite. So it was Edomites that were saying things like this, right? Which would have been the Doric speaking people that came in the 8th century, which Nak is going to show you when I finish showing this stuff, right? So watch this. It says, to view the games in which youths then first began to strip for exercise, right? Which is the gymnasium thing. Quite quietly at first, he started touching and embracing the boys. So that's things that they talked about, right? Because these are Edomites with their pederasty and apprenticeship. He's writing about it in the books, right? Again, the things with the gymnasium are in the 6th century, right? There can be no doubt that the development of homosexuality was connected to the rise of gymnasia and arenas in which boys practiced the 5 exercises, which we ain't gonna get into that. It's a kid's show. So this is what you got to understand, right? This time period in which they talk about homosexuality has nothing to do with 1100 BC. It has to do with 600 BC, right? 1100 BC is when the original Dorians got to the land. This is when Dan gets to the land. Dan was not the homosexuals. Dan did not build any gymnasiums. Esau built the gymnasiums after he took over Macedonia. And he didn't build them in Macedon because the Danites would not allow such a thing. He built them around where the Japhetites were. He built them around them, people I would call the, Austronesian, Polynesian, predominantly. I'm not talking about the ones that are Israelites, but the majority of them, right? And all them other folks. Them folks that are connected. You ever seen the Dothraki in what's that movie? Game of Thrones? That's what that's called, right? Jason Momoa's people. You know why Jason Momoa, the Polynesian, was playing them people? Because they resemble what his people be doing when they on their own island. And they was vile, just like Esau. They was doing all type of crap together with the boys, fighting butt naked, cutting each other hair off and stuff, throwing each other in the pit with the horses and stuff, having sex with their women all out in the open. Right? Sex dances. Like, so don't get it twisted. Them Polynesian people and all that stuff, them Japhetites, they was on that stuff too. Right? The Mycenaeans, the Minoans. If you look at Minoan art, the Minoans was homosexual before Dan got to the land. They have art with black people with dreadlocks having sex with each other. 1400 BC, 1300 BC, 1500 BC. That's before any Israelite was in Greece. So again, this book isn't speaking from fact. It's speaking from a white man's hypothesis. And a brother brought it to the class, right? He used it for his sources, which I ain't got no problem with that. But I got to correct the things that are about when it says Dorian, because what I'm teaching you guys is the original Dorians would have been Israelites. They're Danites, right? The facts show that, right? Another person's quote, which is Herodotus. He's going to show Herodotus on here. And I'm going to show you Herodotus literally said that the Dorians are the Lacedaemonians. So this guy didn't even write a correct quote on the outlook of Herodotus, though he put Herodotus's outlook in the book. Again, not speaking from facts, speaking from his hypothesis and what he wants to believe is true, right? So, but let me let him continue for a second.
That pederast, I'm going to get 13th and 12th centuries BC, the Bronze Age. To all appearance, building of gymnasiums. This came from the Dorian invasion. Now, according to the source, the Dorian.
Now watch. He said the Dorian invasion as if it's one thing. Most people that do history, unless they're like studied on this topic for real, think it's only one Dorian invasion. It's not one Dorian invasion. And again, the sources that Knock is going to show you is going to prove to you that it's not. It's also going to show you that New Age scholars that are doing the scholarship now with new technology are able to prove that it was more than one Dorian invasion, and they have precise dates, right? Between the 8th and 7th century BC for the second one, and the first one is 1100. So the second one with the Edomites seems to coincide with the people that made the gymnasiums. And we see when they became Romans, these same people are still building the damn gymnasiums. When they get to Judea, these same people are still building the gymnasiums. It's not the original Dorians. It's not the Lacedaemonians or Lacedaemonians, right? They're in captivity, writing letters to the people performing in the gymnasiums, the Judeans, right? The Judites, right? The Levites, right? So that's what was happening there. You feel me? So watch this.
Invasions brought in practice of homosexuality and building of gymnasiums to the Greeks. The Dorians were said to invade southern territories of Greece, and they themselves originating in the Balkans, which is northern Macedonia, the very same place that we just showed.
The Dorians did not originate in the Balkans. No, the second people that invaded the Doric states came from the Rhinelands, which means they invaded from the Balkans, right? They come from the mountains, then they invade Thrace, then they go into Macedonia, then Thessaly, and then they move down, right? I'm going to show you sources where we were even in Thessaly. So, like, we end up going to Thessaly, and then that's how they end up learning the Doric language. Now there's two Doric people living right next to each other, right? And then we end up losing wars to them in Macedonia. They end up taking over. Philip's father writes himself into the history. He dies in a war. Philip ends up taking over, and the rest is history. You all should know by now because it's in the Bible, right? So that's how that goes.
I should say, I just showed that Edomites dwelled. Let's continue. In the Peloponnesian War.
We did a whole class on the Peloponnesian Wars, right? So I went into the full history, full scope, showed a video of it and everything. So it should be fully explained on our channel, right? Even down to who Japhet was, who was Judah, who was Dan in the land, right?
What are the effects of the war? The war made Greek civilization weak in terms of military and economy. In its aftermath, Greek city-states were no longer as now it says right here, we have seen that Greece was never unified. There was even dispute throughout the history of the Greeks as a people as to exactly who were entitled to be styled Greeks.
Damn. Okay. That's now. This is from Greece to Roman Conquest by Henry S. Williams. This is another book that I read. Told you guys I'd never bring you all my sources, but since he brought it out and he got it on the page, I will show you this one, right? This proves what I've been trying to tell you guys on every single class that I've done on this topic, that the original Greeks were not the damn people of Japhet. They were not the people of Esau. It was Dan. I showed you sources either in the Celtic class. I think it was the Celtic class, where we went over the Gauls, right? So I showed you guys sources in that class where we literally were the first people to call ourselves the Greeks. The Israelites were the descendants of Hercules, right? Once we took over as the Dorians in the Doric invasion in the first one, we end up beating the Mycenaeans and the Minoans. Everybody becomes Greek. The language of the land doesn't become the Peloponnesian languages, right? The main language becomes Koine Greek, right? Which was what they called the Argoid language and the Laconian language, right? And what Japhet spoke was what they called the Ionian language. That's why when it came to the Peloponnesian War, there was the Doric League and the Ionian League. That's what the war was about. That's who it was against. Athens was Ionia. That was the Japhetic people, right? Them Polynesians and such, right? And our people were mixed in with them due to the division. As it just said, we were never unified. Not even the Israelites that were in the land were unified together. And when the Polynesians went to them Polynesian islands, there were Israelites that went with them, which is why when you read some of them books on the Polynesian people, you see Israelite customs over there too. They're not split up amongst tribes. That's not how the Polynesian people are. Their tribes are based off last name. So everybody there is within a family. That's why everybody that's Polynesian that's related to the Rock look like a nigga, because he's from a black Polynesian family, right? Rikishi look like a nigga, dance like a nigga, talk like a nigga, grow up like a nigga. His kids act like black people. They just a little bit light skinned, right? So it's like because they're Israelites. But then there's Polynesian people like Max Holloway or Jason Momoa that are nothing like Rikishi or the Rock's people, right? They will be actual Polynesian. They probably got some Persian in them. They probably got some Edomite in them, which you could kind of see it, right? That's how that go. That's part of the division. But they all on the same island together. They got different last names, different families, different culture, right? The white boy from the WWE, Roman Reigns, his mama is related to Rikishi and them, but his daddy is on the white Polynesian side, the actual Japhetite looking people, the ones that are mixed with Edomites and Persians, right? So that's what you got to understand. And I'll be doing a class on Japhet to give more history on that too, since nobody's done that yet. So yeah, but I wanted to show this source just to prove that it's also yet another source showing you guys what I've showed you. There was a dispute in the time on who could even call himself the Greeks. And now that Esau has won, you think everybody in the land was a Greek. So now the Greeks and the Romans are the same people. That's what y'all think. That's what Israelites teach. That Greeks and Romans are one of the same, but that's not the truth. The Bible writes it like that as if they're Greek because that's who took over the land. The conqueror was who called themselves the Greeks. We started it though. The name came from us. The Greek gods all damn near end with Dan because they were Danite gods. As I showed you guys when we went over the Gauls, the Peloponnesians had a god of water named Pelop. The Polynesians have one right now named Pelopi. The Danites had one named Poseidon. You feel me? The people of Macedonia were Macedonian, right? Don or Don is a rendition, Greek rendition of Dan. I showed you guys that when we did the first Scandinavian lesson, the Dane lesson. When we showed you guys how, Dan is a adder in the path or a viper in the path. They leave a trail wherever they go. So damn near everywhere where they went got Dan in it. Danube River, Dan Neptune River, Don River, Scandinavia, Denmark. Like those are all renditions of Dan in the languages that they from. And I showed you in the class, they all used to be spelled with an A before white folks took over the lands. It was Scandinavia, Denmark, Danube, Don River, Danepper. Like, it's what they was called. So that's the history, right? So the Macedonians became these people after the fact. Now, if you would, Pull those 3 slides up so I can show them this. Then I'll show this last source and we'll get into atonement real quick. Atonement ain't got to be too long of a lesson because, you know, we teach it every year. It don't change. So, wanted to give y'all some history before we get into it because I ain't going to be teaching no more none of this marathon. I'm going to leave that to knocking the rest of y'all brothers. You know what I'm saying? Knock, you going to get back up there on the marathon with them or no? You finished too. Say it's a wrap.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
Well, I'm telling you now, I'm not. I tried the last 2 years. I ain't doing it this time. Nope. This is my sacrifice right here, fellas. All right. So, I asked AI and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? How many Doric invasions was it? And it told me it is a misconception that there were just 2 distinct Doric invasions in early Greece. The theory of a single large-scale invasion, also known as the return of the Herculidae, which I will read to you, has largely also discredited or been discredited by modern historians and archaeologists. Instead of a single event, the spread of a Doric people in a dialect likely occurred through a series of migrations and internal social changes over an extended period. And I'm actually going to prove and go a step further to say the return of the Herculidae did happen. I'm actually going to show it from one of my sources, from Herodotus, and that it actually coincides with there being more than one invasion, because the return of the Herculi would be when the Danites returned for the second time. This is still before 800 BC. So if the second one happened in 700 BC, 700 BC, right? That means they still returned before the second invasion, which still leaves time and room for there to be a spreading of their dialect because they took over the whole Greek civilization, the whole Peloponnese. Everybody was speaking a Doric language. Everybody learned it. So if the Edomites moved to Macedon from Thessaly, or they moved to Thessaly from Macedon, they're closer to the Doric states, and they're actually living where Dorians was, right? Because by then, all the freaking Danites damn near left Macedon at this time because we lost after they moved in. That's how they was able to take over. We had wars, right? Which I'll do a separate class just on those wars so y'all can get history on that too. So, but it reads, continuing on, it says the theory of a single large invasion has also been right. Instead of a single event, the spread of a Doric people and the dialect occurred through a series of migrations and internal social changes over an extended period. Try 1100 BC to 500 BC, right? That's an extended period if you ain't never heard one before. The widespread destruction of the Mycenaean civilization around 1200, which is 1100, right? Which ushered in the Greek Dark Ages. Why is it a Greek Dark Age? Ain't that synonymous with the Dark Ages we had in Europe? God. Anytime it's a Dark Age, it got to do with us.
That's right.
But the only place y'all get this history is on this damn channel. Ain't that some stuff, right? I really do this, guys, for real. I don't just be sitting in my room talking shit. I really be researching this stuff all day long at work, everything, right? So the eventual replacement of the Mycenaean Greek dialect with the Doric dialect, So I told you guys, we met up with the Mycenaeans and the Minoans. When we first get to the land, we developed the Greek dialect. I explained this, guys, in the PowerPoint. The very first class we did on the Danes and the Vikings, right? I explained it in the PowerPoint. I explained it in the second class we did with the Anglo-Saxons and the Danes, making the white people Slavs. There we also began to show you guys how the Slavs are the white people that moved down from these mountains, right, and into Macedonia. They were called the Veneti. In history, they're called a Celtic people. But we know they're only a Celtic people because they wrote themselves in as the Celtics. They were a Slavic-speaking people that learned the Doric language because they couldn't communicate with nobody when they got to the land. So once they learned the Doric language, now they're Doric people. So this is how the spread of the Doric dialect comes into play. Didn't just spread between Dorians and Japhetites. It also spread between Edomites that came in 800 BC, right? So, says the eventual replacement of the Mycenaean Greek dialect and Doric dialect in the southern Peloponnese and other regions during the classical period, right? Now, can you go to the next page where it says the initial tradition?
Come on, let me pull it up.
Y'all hit the like button when y'all come in the building. And like I said, y'all side wasn't wrong. He just pulled out a source that gave his point, which his point wasn't wrong, that white people brought the homosexuality. The only point I'm bringing is that they called themselves Doric or Dorians after they took over Macedonia. They are not the original Doric or Dorian people. The original Dorian invasion was Israelite people that moved into the land of the Greeks, right? The Peloponnese. We took over the Mycenaeans and the Minoans and the people like them, right? Them people that were the Ashkenaz and all them folks, whatever their real name is, right? The people of Cyprus, all them folks, right? Javan, that's who Greek was. So Javan, Minoan, Mycenaean, the Cypressites, all them folks, right? We take them over and we come up with a language and a dialect that we all could speak. This is Greek. Once we become the Dorians and the people that moved to Miletus end up moving into the land, which I showed you and proved to you were folks of the line of Zerah and Perez, which happened to be what? Israelites from the southern kingdom. So now you got Dan and southern kingdom Israelites in Greece, 1100 BC. Right? Let's hold on. I showed you guys, right? We talked about them taking over the Mycenaeans and the Greek people, right? 1100 BC. What also happens 1100 BC? We get, we talked to you about how this is going to be important too for the last source we got, how Hercules or Samson is indeed, you know, of the Danite tribe, right? And the Heraclim are supposed to be the Danites, right? Merchantmen that went to go deal with the Mycenaean world. Okay, so proving to you that Danites were the people that went to go take over the Mycenaean world. History tells you this by name, Danites, right? They're also the people associated with Hercules. Tells you that the story of Hercules is Samson through apotheosis, right? So we went over that. And in that class, I showed you a science.com article where they did the scientific research and the archaeological research and went to Greece and showed the actual artifacts where they took the name of Samson, made it Heraclim for the Heraclidae or the merchantmen of Dan, right? And then turned around and gave him a name through apotheosis, which was Hercules, son of strength. And then, you know, that becomes Thor later on and so on and so forth, right? And throughout history, they refer to his descendants, instead of them being Danites or merchantmen, they called them Heraclidae or Heraclim, right? The descendants of Hercules, aka people of the tribe of Dan. That's who they are. And in a certain source I'm going to show you, they're already ruling different lands, taking over, having fights inward with each other in Greece. Just like how niggas was doing in Europe, just how we was doing in Israel. We did the lesson on the Northern Kingdom, how all the Northern Kingdom kings was killing each other for power and stuff. They did the same thing in Greece. No different. No new thing under the sun. Happened here first, matter of fact. So, yeah, we showed that. And then how the Milesians, these people of, you know, the Southern Kingdom, come from Iberfin and Aramon, right? Who later went to go take over Ireland. We did the class on Ireland and Scotland. Showed you guys how Judah and Benjamin took that land over. That's how King James family ends up being there, right? So we did this whole It's been a series of lessons that we did to build up to this point, right? For me to have the knowledge to be able to show you guys what I've been showing you guys. We went through the progression of the different nails and the coats of arms for the lions, one for Dan, one for Judah, one for Benjamin, right? How the line of Zerah Perez had red and blue different things, or black. We showed all this stuff, bruh. Undeniable, right? Showed you how it was black people, like all this stuff, right? So, yeah, we went through that. So, we get this back up now. Pay attention. So, we got 1100 BC, Israel and Judah are in the land, right? They've now stopped the Greek dialect, or I'm not going to say stop it because it was still the same damn dialect. They just changed it to the Doric dialect in history once the Japhetite people started calling us Dorians, right? Because again, that's not a name we gave ourselves. We were Greek, which is why the Greek name is what lasted and Dorian did. Okay? I explained that in the class, the first one. So, but yeah, reading on. So, I'm going to start here. It says later migrations and colonizations. Let me make sure I don't need none at this part. Right? I'll read this too. It says, however, archaeological evidence does not support a foreign invasion as a sole cause of the collapse. Instead, it suggests a complex period of internal warfare, migrations, and social unrest. So, internal warfare, Peloponnesian War, migrations, Edomites pull up to the land. Peloponnesian War and the Edomites coming to the land happened damn near the same time. Edomites come into Macedon around 500-600, but they're moving into the rest of the Peloponnese while we're in the middle of the war. The Peloponnesian War starts around like 492. The damn near the whole 400s were fighting amongst each other. And guess who's moving into the land, just taking over stuff little by little while we're doing it? Edomites. These quote-unquote Celtic people, as they called them in history, right? That spoke a Slavic language. They learned the Dorian language. They come in as low-class people. Y'all thought that we was teaching them how to dress back in damn, like once they come from the mountains the second time. No, we had to do it this time too. We already knew about bats and bathing and stuff like that. But they coming from up north. Nobody's doing that. It's cold. Icy water. What you bathing in? Temperatures was different back then than it is now. Wasn't what they call global warming and stuff. The temperature was the way it was supposed to be. Right? Wasn't concrete jungles and stuff. So when it's cold, it's cold. When it's hot. So, like, that's things brothers got to keep in mind. But off the high horse, it says the idea of the second Dorian invasion refers to subsequent migrations and colonization. They only talk about colonization when it's white people. It's never us when they talk about colonization. So we had dark ages in 1100, but colonization around 800. Because it's about to give you the date. Words are important, people. They connect and they're synonymous with certain groups of people for a reason. White folks colonize. When they had the Arab invasions of Africa, they never called it or considered it colonization. You realize that? It was just an invasion. But when white folks take stuff over in history, it always got that C word behind it. When the black folks was in control, they always call it the Dark Ages, so they could put some plague behind it, make it seem like everybody was sick or something. Right?
That's what we were taught in school.
Words are important. They're synonymous with things for a reason. So if Dark Age is synonymous with black rulership, colonization is synonymous with cracker rulership. You got the D for dark and the C for cracker. It even go together. Right? So, like, pay attention. The second, or the idea of a second Dorian invasion. So I told you what the first one was. Now this second one refers to subsequent migrations, meaning multiple, more than one, Well, from where, Eliel? The mountains to Macedon to Thrace from Thrace to Macedon to Thessaly to Corinth to Sparta, like all them different places. Then to Athens. Macedon's the first place they took over. That's their headquarters. That's the only place they have a seat of rulership after 100 years of being in there. And once they win the war, now they've tied themselves to the Archaeid dynasty. They're calling themselves descendants of Hercules. I showed you guys that, remember? How the hell is Dan descendant of Hercules and Esau descendant of Hercules, and they not connected or related to each other, technically? It's because they wrote themselves in. There's two types of Jews, and they both ain't related to each other, technically. From today's standpoint. I mean, if you get down to the nitty-gritty bloodline stuff, yeah, we are. But from today's standpoint, after the separation, we're not connected, right? Two separate people. Two manner of people were in thy womb, right? So, but they call themselves Jews, right? If you hear Netanyahu on the news with Donald Trump, he's calling them Jews. But then some of yous also call yourself Jews. But y'all ain't the same. So I don't understand why it's so easy for black folks in this community to understand that when it comes to their tribe, Judah. But with Dan and the Dorians and the Greeks, they can't be different from the Dorian and Greek Edomites. They all got to be the same in history. That don't make no sense. That's not fair. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I want to show y'all. But we're going to continue. You still there, Knock? I need you to flip the other one when I'm done. I'm almost done. I can't. Okay, there it is. All right, so wait a minute. Where are we? This is one.
You need a third slide?
No, not yet. I flipped over on my phone. I was trying to make sure I was on the right one. So, following the initial movements and the onset of the Greek Dark Ages, so it says following the Greek Dark Ages, meaning following after these Greek black people took over. Read between the lines, people. Pay attention. AI is trying to teach you something. I know some of y'all don't like artificial intelligence, but it's more intelligent than a lot of you niggas. I'm going to just be honest with you, right? So,
speak.
Just being real.
Right.
So, it says, following the initial movements and the onset of the Greek Dark Ages, following this, Doric-speaking people, not Dorians themselves, but Doric-speaking people established settlements across the Peloponnese, Crete, Rhodes, and the coast of Asia Minor. By 8th century BCE, a new wave of colonization brought Doric-speaking people to the southern Argead Islands. What I just tell you guys? Who they named themselves after? Who they tied themselves to? The Argead people, the Argean people, the people of Macedonia, the Macedonians, them Danites, the people of Macedon. Right? Them folks. But it's not telling you those actual original people. It's telling you a Doric-speaking people took over this place. Not just there, but Crete, Rhodes, Asia Minor. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. And I think even in Yawasop lesson, he talked about Crete specifically. That's because that's where these people was at. They took over parts of these places. Hey, you can't get rid of the stench, sis. That's just something they deal with. You know what I'm saying? That water smell after they get wet, that ain't none they ever gonna, like, they can't escape that. That come from years of hibernating in the mountains and defecating amongst their own boo-boo. Job told us that. And Job old. So if Job saw that prophecy, they've been doing that for a long ass time. So, you know what I'm saying? Esau's direct seed line, like right after him, was probably boo-booing next to where they sleep. You feel me? So, but yeah, 8th century, people, BCE. So, says, watch this. This same Doric-speaking people brings a wave of colonization to the southern Argead as far as Sicily and Libya. What? Sicily? Yeah. Because if you pay attention, if you guys were paying attention to the video that I showed you guys on the Gauls when we went over that lesson, that video explained to you that Kings and Generals video explained to you how them Edomites, when they were trying to take over, we had a group of people in Sicily. That's how Sicily became a black state. Spartans are the ones that founded it. Spartans are Lacedaemonians. So Sicily was literally founded by the tribe of Dan, right? It was one of the first places that Caesar went and took over. He took it over because there were white people that went to go settleize or settle in the land, and they ended up being stuck there. Caesar took it over, and it became a place that, you know, they were able to inhabit for a very long time. This particular thing doesn't tell you the time period, but Caesar's like 200 BC. That's how long this was happening. How long the migration and the takeover took. Right? So, but yeah. Now, switch to the next slide. It says a modern reinterpretation. This is why the book that Yawasop used in his slide, particularly saying that the Doric people were the homosexuals, I never brought this book to y'all because of the way it reads. It's not as specific as it should be because that guy didn't have information that they have now, right? He was going off of the premise of there only being one Dorian invasion. Now we know there were more than ones, and we have specific time periods for such. He spoke of 1100 BC and then spoke of gymnasiums being synonymous, but when the homosexuality came into place. We proved via AI overview, gymnasiums didn't hit Greece or the Greek states until 600 BC, which is after 800 BC or 8th century BC or 700 BC, which is what? When the Edomites became Doric speaking, invading colonizers. Okay? So that would mean that the building of gymnasiums would be synonymous with them calling themselves Doric people, not synonymous with the actual Dorians from 1100 BC, right? And again, we got one more source that's going to prove that. Theory, it says today's scholars are moving away from the simplistic Dorian invasion theory in favor of a more complex model. Some now suggest that Doric-speaking groups with an S may have already been present within the Mycenaean society as lower class and rose to the power during the period of political instability. So there's some people even trying to say that Esau was already scattered into Macedonia when Dan got there. When Dan took over, the reason it was so easy for Esau to learn the Doric language was because there's scholars saying that they were already there. They were just already low-class people in small numbers. They were already walking on their back and needing help bathing. We go take over. We teach Effect to be a little bit more civilized. We teach them a new language that we make with them. And then Esau learns it. That's what scholars are saying now because they're already there. So forget what I was saying about them moving in 800 BC. They're saying, there's scholars now saying, forget the 800 BC crap. Some of these Edomites got there before that, and they was just there in low numbers with Dan, with Japhet. So reading on, it says, and they rose to power during political instability, aka things like the Peloponnesian Wars, as we said. The older theory of a first and second invasion, which is what I was talking about, and the invasion theory, which is the older version, which is the single invasion theory, are now widely regarded as myths that ancient Greeks used to make sense of their past. So they're saying there was more than two. There were more than one. And they're saying there was some that happened so early, they can't even say when the crackers start moving into Macedon. So that's just to show you that book. You can't say that it was based off of that because we see that the making of the gymnasiums, which is what he specifically said is when the homosexuality really started, though it was a Doric-speaking people that were making the gymnasiums, it wasn't the Dorians making the gymnasiums. They were Edomites making the gymnasiums. The same people that were making the gymnasiums in Judea, same people that made them in Athens, right? So that's that on that. Last thing I want to show y'all before we do this little couple minutes of atonement, so that y'all know what y'all need to do for the rest of the day, and we get some precepts on that. Where is that? Here it is, right here. All right. So, let me make sure. All right, now we're gonna read something from Herodotus, but I want to read you this first because we read that thing about the return of the Heraclidae, right? So, it says one of the main stories in ancient Greeks that told that pertains to the Dorians was a myth or story, as it says. Myth is just another word for story, of the return of the Heraclidae, the descendants of Hercules, or it says Heracles, but which would be Heraclian, which would be the Danite merchantmen. So these are the descendants of Dan, right? The oldest surviving source that mentions this myth is the ancient Spartan lyric. So it's a source by Danites. Poet Tyrtaeus, right? So there's a Danite named Tyrtaeus that was a poet and a lyric that wrote this, just like the brothers that wrote the Odyssey. They were also Israelites, primarily from the tribe of Dan, right? So, who lived in around the middle of the 7th century BC. So he's living in the time period where the Edomites are moving into the damn land. Ain't that ironic? Says, as I discussed in this article 1, written in January 2021, Tyrtaeus is one of the very few ancient Spartan authors who have any surviving works. So that's also an important note. A lot of the real history, right, that would serve as a first-hand account from actual Danites in the land don't even exist no more because the Edomites got rid of it, like they got rid of a lot of stuff during this time period, right? Mainly to get rid of the Greek language when they were trying to make it Latin. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, Tyrtaeus is one of the very few ancient Spartan authors who have any surviving works. His fragment 2, Salakia, has survived to the present day through papyrus, whatever that is, Oxyrhynchus, a papyrus fragment discovered in Egypt dating in the late 1st or 2nd century CE. The fragment reads, "Let us obey the kings who are nearer the line of the gods." So let us obey them Israelites, right? them Danites near the line of gods. For fair crowned Hera's husband, Cronus' son himself, Zeus, gave the sons of Heracles this state. So Zeus is their god, you know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, like, that's another word for Yahweh, as we proved to you guys in the what was that? The new moon lesson where we went over the Cronus and all that type of stuff, right? So, but yeah, so Zeus gave his sons Heracles' state. Under their lead, we left wide-swept Iranos and came to Pelops, broad sea, circled land, right? So that's what they talk about. And I think Tyrtaeus is also one of them people that left. You know, he would be a part of the folks that ended up leaving. Which he'll explain he'll explain what I mean in a minute. So the basic outline of the myth that Tyrtaeus is referencing here can be gleaned from later sources, right? The myth holds that Heracles was the rightful heir to the throne of the kingdom of Tyrannus or Tyrins, which ruled the region of the Argoloid in the Peloponnese, which is where Macedonia, Thessaly, and all them other places are, right? So we end up moving to those places. So I'm gonna fast forward a little bit because I want to show you guys something about this. But this is literally in all them places I told you guys we was at in the Dan lesson, in the Cornelius lesson and stuff, you can see we're literally there right here, right? See us here they're talking about Athenians. We're in Corinth right here, right? You read down a little bit, it's going to talk about us being in Thessalonia, huh? Thessalia, right? In northern Greece. So this is literally like all the places that the Bible talking about that we at, that a lot of Israelite men teach you we got there because of, you know, Roman captivity and crap. Well, it's telling you right here in these sources from actual people from the land in the time period that nah, these folks was actually there already. They went and took over those lands and they stayed over here, right? Because Alexander never took over each land mass of Greece. They only took over Macedon, which is why he was the Macedonian. The way the Greek state was if you had power, you could rule from whatever nation you was from, right? You just would have power over everybody in the Greek state. No different than what you saw with Xerxes. He didn't ever rule from anywhere in Macedon or Sparta. He just took their ass over and kept going in the Middle East wherever he wanted to be at. Went to Turkey and stuff. So that's what folks got to understand, right? You don't have to be there in order to rule from there, or rule there rather. So, but I want to read you this from Herodotus just to prove my point, proving that the Dorians are the Lacedaemonians. So the original Dorians were the people that, you know, I've been telling you they are this whole time. And that will be that on that. And we'll get into atonement. All right. So first, Herodotus writes in his Histories 1.56 that the Dorians had not always lived in the Peloponnese. Oh, you don't say. But had moved around and lived in various parts of Greece before eventually settling in their current home, like Sparta, right? Because I told you the first place they moved to was what? Cyprus, the place closest to the Joppa coast, right? Science.com told you that the people of the Heracleum or the Heracles or the Heraclidae, they moved from Joppa to Cyprus, then to Javan, which became Greece, right? This is about to tell you they moved to a bunch of different places. We was in Thessaly, we was in Corinth, we was Ephesus, all different type places, right? This how when Judah pull up, we able to tell them, y'all move to Ephesus, y'all move to Miletus, y'all move to Corinth, y'all move to Thessaly, because we already had people there, nigga. Yeah. So here it is, Herodotus, because again, this is also somebody that was used in the PowerPoint, right? So his work can't contradict itself for it to be credible. So if Herodotus is saying that the Dorians are the Lacedaemonians, he can't be saying that those Dorians are the people that brought homosexuality, right? So that's that. If history is telling us that there's more than one Dorian and there's more than one Doric invasion, and that the homosexuality didn't come until after the first Dorians, then we shouldn't be saying that just Dorians themselves brought homosexuality to Greece. It should be specified which Dorians brought homosexuality to Greece. And once it's discovered, there were black Dorians and white Dorians, just like there were black Bulgars, like I showed you last week, the Volga Bulgars, and then the Danubian Bulgars, right? You got Anglo-Saxons and you got Saxons, you got Irish, you got Irish, you got Scots, you got Scottish, you got Brits, you got British, English. We could go on and on, right? Jews and Jewish. They've made it so that there's one of each. There's we the original, they the doppelganger, right? So in history, you have to be able to distinguish between who is who and what is what. And a lot of y'all Israelites be doing history. Y'all don't do that. Y'all just be using whatever sources fit y'all point, and it's disingenuous to the people watching y'all. So that's that. But again, what he said wasn't wrong. I ain't talking about him when I say that. I'm just clarifying this myself because I'm the only one that taught this part of the lesson about the Dorians being Dan and stuff like that. So he found by inquiry that the chief peoples among the Doric were the Lacedaemonians. The main people of the Doric state were Lacedaemonians. Who were the Lacedaemonians? according to the book of the Maccabees, they are the kin to the tribe of Judah, to the Maccabees, to the Levites, to the Maccabees, to Benjamin, the Maccabees, because Maccabees was all three groups. The ones we read about was Levites primarily, but there were hammers of all three tribes, right? So the Lacedaemonians, they are the main group of Doric people, and the Athenians among these of Ionic stock. What did I tell you guys when we did the Peloponnesian War? Y'all thought I was lying. Y'all thought I didn't know what I was talking about. No, man, all the Greeks are the Greeks. I got phone calls. Well, apparently this Greek nigga Herodotus didn't think so. Hello. He told you what I said. In something called the histories. So he's giving you the history. I'm just saying, right? You see a name there, Deculion. You might recognize that name because he's in my PowerPoint. I might have read this source before I came to y'all. The whole thing, the whole histories, the whole Historia by Herodotus. I might have it, but never mind. So he found by inquiry that the chief peoples were the Lacedaemonians among those of Doric and the Athenians among those of Ionic stock. So Doric people are different than Athenians. Athenians would be Japhetites. Doric people would be Israelites. The Maccabees and the Danites, Dorians. Athenians are Maccabees and Japhetites, right? Mycenaeans, Minoans, all them people. That's who ends up fighting. And if you remember the Peloponnesian War lesson, Dan and Sparta or Doric ends up winning because them Israelites that was fighting with Athens decided, hey, I don't think we're gonna win this war, so we should go hop on our brother's side so that they ain't, trying to play us when this thing over with. And then it became a us versus them thing. And because it was some of us on their side, they ended up losing. We went over that in the class. So these races, Ionian and Dorian, were the foremost in ancient time. Why? Because they're the two main groups that founded Greece. Ionian is Japhet, Doric, Dan, which became Dan and Judah, right? Were the foremost in ancient time. The first, a Pelagian or Pelasigan. The second, a Hellenic people. Boy, I could throw the laptop. I could throw it. Who are the Hellenic people? Who are they? Can you tell me who the Hellenic people are for the class?
That would be us.
The Hellenic people are us. The Hellenes. The Hellenistas. Right? It was niggas trying to tell me a Hellene and a Hellenista are two different things. Well, no, my nigga. They are not. They are the same. A Hellen and a Hellenista are a Greek, which is the Israelite. Yep. And Herodotus is telling you the Doric people are Hellenes and the Japhetite people are Athenians and they're Ionic. They're two different races. So a Greek wouldn't be calling everybody Greek because Japhet was Peloponnesian. We was taking over their territory. So the war that we had the second time, right? We invaded as the Dorians, but the actual war we had was called the Peloponnesian War. And after we beat their ass, what were we called? Greek, not Peloponnesian. Because we were all Hellenic people. Hellenic and Greek are synonymous. So again, he's making the same distinction that I gave you guys, right? You can't argue against it because it's not arguable. There's no facts that will dispute it. Ever. They don't exist. This is the only fact. As we showed you in the last slide, they're still coming up with information about this stuff. They don't even know everything about this. So Lacedaemonian and Macedonian look and are spelled the same because they originally were the same people. They were Israelites. Crackers moved into the land and took over. Right? So, I mean, it should be real easy, bro. The Pelagazan race was never yet left its home. The Hellenic was a wandered often and afar. Why? Because we came from Israel and we went every damn where. We went to freaking Scandinavia, nigga. Brothers popped up in Ireland and Scotland and Wales. Them Hellenic people was everywhere. For in the days of King Deculion, the king of the Spartans, it inhabited the land of Pythia, then the country called Histanian, under Ossa and Olympus. What I tell you guys about Olympus, that wasn't their place, that was ours. That's where the Greek gods lived. That was a mount, right? In Israel, when the Northern Kingdom was putting all they foreign temples up, did they put them on flat land or mountains? Did they tell you that the tribe of Dan had their own mount and their own shrines? It was the same as Mount Olympus. What gods were they using? These gods. There were cows in Greece, just like there were cows in Jerusalem, golden ones. In the time of Doris, son of Helen. Who did we tell you Helen was in the PowerPoint? The name where the Hellenic people come from. Helen is the wife of who? Helen's the wife of Deculion, who becomes the man that is the son of Lacedaemon and Sparta. They all are connected. The Hellenic people come from a Hellene, right? And the Hellene was named Helen, my nigga. Helen, right? So it was a dude, not a girl. Driven from this Histanian country by the Cadmeans, it settled about Pindos in the territory called Macedonian. So these Hellenic people settled in Macedonian. That's how they got there. They were the first to settle there, right? That was their land. And then who gets there around 800 BC, 700 BC? Crackers, you see, and they take over everything they see. That's how it happened. From there, again, migrated to Dropia. So these people that founded Macedonia, that also founded Lacedaemon, also went to Draponia, and at last came from Draponia into the Peloponnese, where it took the name Dorian. Because as I told you, that was not a name we gave ourselves. It was a name given to us by the people of the Peloponnese. Do you guys understand the history? Like, it should be self-explanatory. I know I talk a lot, but, you know, hey, I be getting excited when I'm like, bruh, I said this. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. That's all I wanted to show y'all. That there were two different Doric people, right? Two different invasions, or more than one if you count the modern day history, right? So, and all of them coincide with Dan being first, Esau being second, and Esau is the one that brought in the homosexuality with gymnasiums, which didn't come into power until they were in power. Understood? Hope so. So now, Day of Atonement, right? Something you should all be in. Something me and Knock are gonna be regretting. Well, probably me more than him because he ain't had to talk much in this class. Lucky for him. But me, it's gonna be hard tomorrow at work. I gotta work tomorrow. I ain't get a day off, so I'm gonna be outside with no water, no food, in the sun, working like a Hebrew slave on the Day of Atonement. Yeah,
I feel you.
So what you got to do sometime in captivity, right? So, but ideally, if you can't get the day off, you should take the day off. You're supposed to have the day off. If you got to work and you call off work, act like you sick, I would do that. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, couple things. So, brush your teeth, wash your face, please. Wear deodorant, take a shower. You can't drink water, but you ain't supposed to drink water when you brush your teeth. You're supposed to spit it out. So, brush your teeth, please. Brush your kids' teeth. You don't want that little, dragon coming out. Uh, brush your dog teeth. So, like, brush everybody's teeth, right? Wash your face. You're supposed to look like you're not fasting. You feel me? We're gonna read them scriptures. But dry fast. No food, no water, none of that stuff, right? It's supposed to be afflicting your soul. So it's a day where you're trying to win back the Most High, so to speak. Let him know that you're sorry for all the sins you committed for the whole year. You know what I'm saying? And show that you're trying to be better for the next year. That's what Day of Atonement is for. So that's what we should be working towards when we have this day. No matter what you end up doing, whether you have to work in captivity or you get the day off and you get to serve it at home, stay in your Bible. If you got to work and you can't like pull your Bible out and be reading it, if you could put headphones in, download the KJV app. Damn, slack you. But download the KJV app. It got the little or the KJVA app, either one. It got the little read to me option, right? You can listen to the Bible all day long. You know what I'm saying? So put junk in your pocket. Chill out. Right. So like that's what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Meditate on the kingdom, meditate on the Most High, meditate on the way you want to be in this upcoming year and for the rest of this year. You know what I'm saying? Meditate on you being thankful that the Most High has allowed you to be able to stay here and get the opportunity to endure another season, right? So those are all things that the Day of Atonement is for. And that's what brothers and sisters should be using it for. Not just a time period to show how well you can fast, how much water you can't drink, and all that type of stuff. So be sincere about it. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, something important. If you have to take medication and it's like a life or death thing and you're trying to be over righteous much, please don't do that. Take you a little swig of water, drink your medication, whatever, take your pill, whatever you got to do. Because the Most High has taken people out of here for trying to be over righteous much. He showed them and their families and us in the truth that you can destroy yourself, as it says in Proverbs, right? Be not over righteous much, lest thou destroy thyself. So I'm telling you, man to man, man to woman, whatever, right? Speaking as a man, if you want it to be, just speaking from the Bible, if you want to say that too, because it's biblical, as I just said. If it's a life or death situation, and y'all know the situation, whether it's life or death. If you don't know, I'd use wisdom and not try to find out. But take a swig, take your little pill, call it a day. You know what I mean? So I would still try to dry fast. You know what I mean? Usually when they say you got to eat after you take some medicine or whatever, it's just to make sure that your stomach don't get messed up, but it's not per se going to kill you if you don't eat after you take the pill. So, yeah, a lot of y'all don't even have them symptoms where you take medicine and you get sick afterwards in the stomach. So, that's what I would say. If you have to take it and it's life or death, take your medicine, put the water back down. But yeah, because like I said, people have died during this very holiday every year that I've been in the truth. So, you don't want to be one of those people. Yeah. All right. Now, let me make sure there's nothing else I want to say before we get into some scriptures. I feel like there's one thing I'm missing. Oh no, it'll come back to me. Things you should not do. Things you should not. Is that what I was about to say? We went over things you shouldn't eat anything. I wouldn't work. I wouldn't, if you can afford not to. I don't know. It was something else I was gonna say, but I forgot. So let's go ahead and get into some things. Let's start with Jeremiah 6:16. Oh boy. Read 6 and 16 and 17. And again, y'all hit the like button if you haven't already, Bible Cashapp. So we're gonna talk about this Day of Atonement. Yeah. Just make sure that y'all are keeping it sincerely, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, don't be over righteous much. Because Mohawk will kill your ass. Go ahead.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 6, and starting at verse 16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein? And ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet. But they said, we will not hearken.
So that's what happened. It's hard for our people to follow the old path. A lot of our people don't like to fast. A lot of our people ain't go up having to do that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's pointless to people. But yeah, some of y'all really be going through it on this Day of Atonement because y'all don't fast enough during the year. So that's also something I would advise for y'all. If you wasn't thinking about that before, I would do that once you recover from this. Because yeah, it's gonna prepare you, make it easier for you every single year, every single time you do it. And you might get so good at fasting, so used to it, that you just decide to fast throughout the week on a random week, every single month or whatever, right? Or 2 weeks or whatever, every week. Like, it just depends. So I fast randomly all the time. It's good for your body too. You know what I'm saying? It's good for your body when you fast. Allows your colon and stuff like that to regroup, digest everything, allow your intestines to empty everything out. You know what I'm saying? So you're not developing sicknesses by everything just sitting up in there and stuff. So I agree. What else? No, I don't want that. We already got that. Trying to think. Getting sleepy, y'all. Example tribe. Let's get this just to show this part. Give me Jonah 3 and 5. Okay. Actually, that's long. Give me Esther 4 and 16. That's gonna be short. I want to show you guys an example of Jews fasting or Israelites fasting in captivity. Because a lot of people say we can't do this stuff unless we in the kingdom and this, that, and the third. Well, you can fast anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, woo, boy.
This is the book of Esther, chapter 4, and verse 6:14. Right. You said 4 and 14, Cap?
Esther, where did it just go?
Or was it 16?
Hold the phone. I don't even see the precept I called no more. What the hell? Hold up. Oh, okay. Yeah, 4 and 16. My bad.
God, it's the book of Esther, chapter 4, and verse 16. Go, gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan, and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go in unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish.
I didn't know I had to cut on him over. Well, yeah. So if I perish, guys. So they fasted, right? In captivity. In the Bible. Well, that's crazy, right? Folks be like, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't fast in captivity. What are you doing? You can't keep No. You're in the white folks' land. You can't do that. Well, Esther seemed to have thought otherwise. She was right in Haman face. What's that? Hammond, right? Hammond, however you say that cracker name. She right there. So I disagree. Beg to differ, right? But see what else I want. And just so y'all know, the Day of Atonement. In fact, let's get that. Leviticus 23:26. I was just gonna speak it, but might as well, right? It's a feast day that is in the Torah as something we are supposed to keep 100% without a shadow of a doubt, right?
Yep.
And of course, you know, things like Christ, what he said in Romans chapter 12, when you gotta make your body a living sacrifice and everything, right? So, like, those are all things that kind of coincide and have to do with what you would do ideally on a Day of Atonement, right? Especially for people that don't make their body a living sacrifice on a daily basis. This is your one day out the year to actually make your body a living sacrifice for the Most High, right? To show that you might possibly be worthy of the kingdom. Go ahead.
Come on, this is the book of Leviticus chapter 23, starting at verse 26. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of the 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be an holy convocation unto you.
Boy, chill out.
And
My
ye
bad.
shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord.
Offer offering made by fire unto the Lord. You better back
Verse
up or I'll burn your ass, Tazara. Go ahead.
Verse 28. And ye shall do no work in that same day, for it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before the Lord your God.
So it's a day of atonement to make atonement before you and the Most High, right? So you are supposed to be meditating on the things you know you did wrong this year. You're supposed to be meditating on the things you know you was slacking on, whether it would have been new moons, whether it's some type of feast day, whether it's, you know, spending time with your wife or spending time with your husband or reading your Bible or studying like you're supposed to, whatever it is, right? Whatever aspects of this truth that you know you lacking in, those are part of the things you're supposed to be meditating on and focused on changing. Atonement isn't just atonement for sins, the way I look at it. It's atonement for any and everything that you could be doing that stops you from being the best Israelite you could be in this truth. The Day of Atonement is not just a day for you to get right with the law. That's the main purpose, right? But it's a day for you to get right with yourself and the Most High too, which getting right with the Most High is basically getting right with the law. But getting yourself right involves a little bit more, right? It includes getting right with the law, but it involves a little bit more. And the Day of Atonement can be used for all of that, right? Like, Day of Atonement should be used for Israelites in a truthful way, the way Christians and crackers and heathen use the what's that junk called? New Year's revolutions, resolutions, right? New Year's resolutions. That's what they be doing, right? So they look at those like, okay, every time they have a new year, it's a time for them to get right on whatever they did wrong, whatever they didn't do, whatever they slipped up on, whatever they was lacking the last year. That's their time to fix it and do it better the next time, right? Well, your Day of Atonement is like that for Israelites. This is your day to meditate on everything. And the reason you're afflicting your soul is because the Most High is like he has like punishments and rewards at the same time. If you get punished for something, you might immediately get a reward after you do exactly what the punishment or what should have stopped the punishment. Now, if you're getting punished, he's going to, you know, I mean, now if you get a reward, he could possibly end up punishing you afterwards, right? Just to show you what's good. Like, for example, if y'all saw what happened with Terrence Crawford recently. Had his birthday, had the birthday bash, and in the same night, he almost got shot in the face by the police of Omaha. Right? So it's like, that's what can happen. And to me, it's no different with the Day of Atonement. That's how we kind of got to look at it. Like, it's a day for us to get right with the Most High, for us to focus on things we did wrong, within the truth, within our life, within, you know, every aspect of being an Israelite. And it's a day for you to kind of make a resolution, if you will. You got a clean slate, and you could go as long through the year as you can to make it through that clean slate. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's brothers from the Watchmen and stuff like that I used to talk to and stuff like that a lot of the time. And when we get together around days that's like, or when we used to get together around the feast day of Tabernacles or something like that, or even dedication or Passover, whatever it might be, right? When we see each other, we used to talk about things like that, like what it would be like, for brothers to not really have to worry about having to atone because you was basically perfect the whole year. You know what I'm saying? And brothers, we be making jokes about things that we did last year that we ain't do this year, so I ain't got to atone for this. You know what I'm saying? Type stuff. It's almost like it's like righteous bragging, if you will, right? Certain things I did last year, I ain't doing no more, whatever the hell. So it's like I ain't got to atone for that this year. But Christians and the people that make the New Year's resolutions typically never get to do those and have them conversations because the crap they're resoluting never happens still. Right. So this is supposed to be your resolution that you actually make happen before the Most High. Whatever you getting wrong, you're supposed to make right. You know what I'm saying? And then because of repentance and the things that we got as far as the law, after you get right and make right, you ain't supposed to get wrong again or do wrong again. That's how it works, right? At least not on that particular aspect. So that's what we need to kind of get ourselves in the mindset and understanding of being in, right? That's how we need to look at this day. So that's how I will be looking at this day. That's how I will be teaching to look at this day. I'm gonna do maybe one or two more. We're gonna close out. I ain't even gonna read all this because I feel like Day of Atonement self-explanatory. Yeah, it was good.
Let's ask the people: do they know what atonement is? I mean, I don't know if you kind of. I mean, you kind of explained, but
yeah,
like,
let's see if they retained it. You could somebody put in the chat. What is atonement? What do you mean? Like, what does it stand for? Rather, from an Israelite perspective.
Fine.
You could tell me what it involves or whatever. You know. I had a cut on my finger.
Yeah, it'd be like kind of like what is it and what is the purpose of it? And you kind of explained what the purpose of it was, but in the chat, someone put in the definition of atonement or their understanding of atonement, and also like why do we have to atone? I know there may be a lag.
No, you actually. So it seemed on time to me.
I mean, it's on time, but there is a little bit of a lag on the live. What is atonement, people? Somebody give us the definition of atonement according to scriptures. What would atonement mean? I know somebody out there knows. Somebody, a soldier, someone who should know this. Put the answer in the chat. Is everybody still here, or they didn't fell asleep? Like there's no action.
Out.
There is no action.
I don't know.
And the show's almost 40 people.
Self-accountability without God having to do it. Forgiveness of sin.
Okay, we got 2.
Yeah, just 2. 3. To
okay.
redeem oneself.
Redeem oneself.
Okay.
Anyone else? Anybody else?
Hold on, Tyler. I'm almost done, buddy. I'm just gonna see. This is crazy, bro. Look at this dude.
I don't see anyone else. So let's go. I had a scripture.
What is atonement? What is atonement? Can you spell it backwards and use it in a sentence? Go. Yeah,
Okay, so I see people putting, let me just run through some of the answers here. And these are great answers, everybody. Let's see, let's go back to the first one that dropped. I believe it was Azariah. Self-accountability, without God having to do it. We're commanded to do it. So, right. So that's without God, that's us on our own. So self-accountability is a part of the process. Nazar said forgiveness of sins, right? To repent, right? Officer Banyamin says to redeem oneself. Okay. Sister Rose says forgiveness. We got Soldier Araya saying reparation for a wrong or injury. So repairing that breach. Sister Baya says what it means is asking for mercy and forgiveness of your sins, to repent, to change. Okay. A chance. Let's see. Soldier Kowal says a chance at forgiveness of your sins, accountability. All right. So I'll give my kind of understanding when I just think of just the word itself.
Yeah.
And the word that I think of that comes to mind right off the top is covering. That's the word that comes to mind. It covers. It's a covering, right, for your sin. And all these answers, like I said, are right along with the process of what atonement is.
Yep.
But I just like that one word, covering for sin, right? It covers.
Covering for the whole year as long as you stay covered.
Right.
You
Who
take
was our atonement? That everybody should know this answer.
Don't start with a J. I mean,
right. Because we had to. How do we atone for our sins? I guess I'm just asking this kind of prime everybody. All right, there's an answer. Christ, Khan, Hamashiach, Khan. Right? Because in the Old Testament or scriptures, there was one way we had to atone for our sins, right? We had to do it through the blood of animals, right? But we don't have to do that anymore because Yahushua is now our atonement, right? So maybe I should bring out a few scriptures for that too. I did have some written down. Let me see, just to show. Let me look it up. Matthew. I don't know if I want to go to that one. We're going to be having these lessons throughout the day tomorrow. So just kind of priming everybody to get ready to enjoy.
Yep, me and Knock finna leave. I'm just giving y'all the breakdown so y'all understand what y'all doing tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know if anybody gonna talk about actual like atonement. They usually bring lessons and stuff and the different topics they be wanting to talk about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Stuff that make your mouth extremely dry even while you're watching it. So y'all gonna be perfect going through the Day of Atonement tomorrow.
That's right.
Supposed
to. Was it Romans 5? That's Romans 5. That's what I was looking for.
Romans 5.
Let's go there real quick. Romans 5, chapter 5, and start at verse. Oh, let me get there first. I think it's verse 19. If you get there, you might be able to find it.
What are you looking for?
Romans 5. Let me get there and make sure that's the one I'm looking for.
KJV, or I'm supposed to read this in another version? What
did I say Romans? Wait a minute, hold on.
So Romans 5.
5 and 5 and okay, yeah, there is 5 and 11. I'm sorry. And it reads this because we know who our atonement is now. It reads this. This is Romans chapter 5 and verse 11. It says, and not only so, but we also joy in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, by whom we now have received the atonement. Right, verse 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned. So basically, we know that Christ is now our atonement, right? And we memorialize the Day of Atonement because it's a commandment that we are still commanded to keep.
Rehearse righteous acts.
That's right. So even though Christ did die for us, his blood covered our sins, that doesn't change what the law says. We still have to keep the Day of Atonement. So for those who may ask, well, if Christ died, why are you guys keeping this? Because he told us to. I mean, that's just what it is, right?
Yep. So
I mean, it's something we're supposed to keep throughout our generations. So
that's really, yeah, we could cut. Like, that's it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, true. Yeah, I like what G Bloopers put up. Let me read that real quick. Let me pull this up real quick. Leviticus 17:11. I think I know what they're going into. It says, "For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it for you on the altar to make atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that makes
I gave the blood for you to eat.
Life. That's right.
I gave the blood to you to eat.
Right. Life for life.
You should leave the blood in your steak and your chicken and everything. Just eat it.
That's sleepy talk.
That's the white folks. That was Esau. You know what I'm saying? That's that stuff Esau be doing. But they supposed to be the people that is in Israel atoning for their sins against Gaza right now. Ain't that crazy?
Right. Exactly.
While eating red meat.
While eating red meat, right.
Go ahead.
Crazy file. No, that's all. I just wanted to pull that up because someone posted it.
Word.
That's a good. That's a good. Thanks.
Appreciate.
Thank you. At the water, G Bloopers.
I ain't never seen G Bloopers before. Am I tripping?
Yeah, I'm not familiar either, but the water for the precept. Yeah.
Appreciate your comment, Holmes.
Yep.
I was gonna say sis or boy, but I ain't want to be disrespectful because I don't know who it is. So if you don't know who it is, I'm just gonna say Holmes. Appreciate your family. But all right, so but yeah, man, I don't want to give away all these precepts because brothers was like, I did that last year, and this the same lesson I had last year. So I don't know.
we basically were supposed to just open it up because brothers are going to bring out plenty of precepts tomorrow. So going over different lessons. Hey,
ask them right quick if they got. Well, I'll do it. Do y'all got any questions before we go about anything that you can or can't do on Day of Atonement?
That's a good question.
Because it's like really we're in it right now.
Yep.
Technically. So yeah. If you got a question, let me know. If you don't, let me go. And I will not talk to y'all tomorrow, but I will talk to y'all next week. You know what I'm saying? So and it's Tabernacles this weekend, right? So I guess I'll go ahead and talk about that real quick. Get a tent if you ain't got one yet. You know what I'm saying? Some deodorant. Please bring some deodorant. Washcloth, soap, all that stuff, right? Some of y'all don't like to go take them showers, but damn near, if you're not gonna do that, stop at Walmart on your way, right? Get you a 24-pack of the little tiny ass Depart water and make that your shower for however long your ass there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to be like that. You know what I'm saying? But damn it, wash your behind in some form of capacity, please, while you out there, because you're around black people in the woods, okay? I'm going to just leave it at that. We don't want no problem. Yeah. So, what else we got? So, food. So I'm not gonna make it to North Carolina or San Francisco, and I gotta end up staying. I'm gonna end up having to stay in Georgia for this one, right? So, but whichever camp spot or campsite that you at for our camp, make sure, please, that you are courteous enough to throw your food in a trash can or a trash bag, something of that effect. And fellas, at the end of the night, tie the damn bags before you go to sleep.
Yeah, you better do that.
Okay? Because you will be in the woods. I know y'all be thinking wherever y'all live, ain't no raccoons or nothing like that, but damn it, they there. If you don't got raccoons, possums and squirrels will be in the garbage can. So again, be careful. If you in North Carolina, bring a flashlight with you and bring your pistol. Cause at night, sometimes them coyotes get a little close to the camp spot. And one of you brothers gonna be on patrol. Them sisters be drinking, and then they be having to wake up at 3:05 in the morning. And whoever's on patrol gotta take them to the bathroom. The one time I had to do it, me and sis turned the flashlight this way, and it looked like a Scooby-Doo movie. It was like 18 yellow eyes looking at us in the woods, bro. No bullshit. So be careful, okay? But yeah, other than that, have fun. Stay in your tent. Try to disconnect from society as much as you possibly can, like civilization, I'll say. Make it like a, nice intimate setting with your camp, with your girl, whatever the hell it is that you got going on over there, right? Your brothers, your sisters. So, but
Family. Yep.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But don't be on your phone or however long you're gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Tabernacles is a great time to read the Bible.
It is.
In your tent.
You
It
sitting
really
there
is.
relaxing. You can sit there and read the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Maybe have a little soft music playing or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say that'd be perfect time. Actually, if you like that little read to me thing, you could play the Bible and just have it read to you. Lay down in your tent, relax,
and just relax and just listen. Yeah.
Chill out. I did that my first year. Fell asleep 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Listening to the Bible. So yeah, it's cool, bro. You should be able to enjoy it. It's nice experience. If you haven't done it before, you should do it. You should try it. If you can't afford to go out there to the woods with people, do it in your backyard if you got one. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, absolutely.
I seen a brother, I ain't gonna say his name, but I seen a brother ask his HOA or his apartment complex people if he could put that junk out in the back of a complex like for the weekend or whatever, and they let him do it. So just depends on what you got going on. So
hey, all praises. You got it done.
Con. So
yeah.
But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all. Enjoy y'all week. Enjoy y'all Day of Atonement. Enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're afflicting your soul, but you're supposed to take stuff like that cheerfully, remember? So don't take it like it's oh damn, I gotta do Day of Atonement. I can't eat. Nah, take it cheerfully. Embrace this. You know what I'm saying? So that's it, man. Shalom for me.
Con, all praises for everyone. Hey, I hope everyone enjoyed the lesson this evening and are able to take something from that. Hey, for atonement, we're gonna be praying, fasting, right? Repenting, asking for forgiveness. This is a time that was given to us. This is a commandment that is given to us to keep and follow. So I pray that everyone has a blessed Day of Atonement all day tomorrow. Well, I know that for sure there'll be 2 classes. First one opening up. There may be more. We may have more than just 2. Let me not say that. But there'll be several classes or several officers and captains speaking throughout the day. But I know that it will be starting at 9 a.m. So please tune in. If you're not working, if you don't have to work, let's.
Hey, I saw before we came into this room, I saw they had 2 links. Right?
Yeah, I did.
So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
One was closing and one was something else.
Was opening.
Okay, that's what it was, opening and closing.
Yeah,
okay.
But I think there's going to be some,
there's probably going to be multiple classes within the
coming in between. Yeah, that's usually similar to how we usually do it.
Right.
So, but let me see. I didn't see if any other people came into class. Asalakia, I was late, but I'll just say shalom to some of the names here. Shalom. Thank you to Minority 144, Sister Rose, Brother Nazar, Soldier Araya, the mighty Brother Azariah, G Bloopers, Officer Benyamin, Sister Abaya, Soldier Kawal, Shalom to you all. Let's see, who else do I see? Amron Israel, Shalom to you. The mighty Soldier Keziah, Sister Issachar, Shalom, the mighty Captain Shaquat. And for everyone else who joined us tonight, thank you for being with us tonight. And we hope to see you on tomorrow morning. Before we go, let's go ahead and get that Daniel 7:18. And it reads, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. By Hashem, Mashiach Yahushua, I want to thank you again for joining us, and we hope to see you again next Monday. Hey, have a great, and since we won't see you till next Monday, well, are we going to do next Monday, or are we going to still be Tabernacles?
I don't know. That's a good ass question. I think I'm coming back next Monday, but I don't know if I'll be back like to do a class. I got a class in mind to do. If I do it, if I don't, then I'll just see y'all the week after. So if y'all see a flyer for it, that means we'll be doing it. If not, we'll see y'all the week after next month.
All right, Khan. All praise to the Most High. Well, again, thanks for being with us this evening. We hope we didn't hold you on too long, but we hope that you have a wonderful Day of Atonement. Tune into the classes tomorrow. And also, if I don't see you before Tabernacles, have a wonderful Feast of Tabernacles. All right, wherever you may be holding it. All right. And with that, Officer Knock,
Captain All, the aristocrat.
And we are the Anointed House of Saints. Thanks again, and join us again on the next Milk Mondays. Shalom, family. Shalom.
This is not a test.
Black skin, black sauce, black Jesus, black music, 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 black music, black music, black music, black music.